Hello, welcome again to another screencast edition of Autodesk Maya. We are in part 3 of modeling the low poly hand. So I showed you already how to create the fingers and also following the fundamentals of proportion, also creating a certain amount of realism. I still haven't sculpted the geometry to make like the little puffs onto your fingertip, but that's okay. We want to actually focus on making the thumb. So now that we have that, so if you look at your hand, you'll notice that, of course, there's a distance between your wrist and to your actual thumb. So what I'm going to do is select my vertices here to sort of start setting this foundation for this. So once I have that, now, I haven't added a subdivision in the center, which I should right now. So that means I'm going to shift, select, right mouse click, and go to Insert Edge Loop tool. So I'm going to add my subdivision of edge loop right here, and I should be good. Now, the next step, I'm going to go back to my vertices. I am going to round this off to here to make my thumb. Now, this is a good part. Again, unlike the fingers that has 3 joints, your thumb, on the other hand, has 2 joints. So when you make a fist, your fingers are going to pretty much curl all the way inside, which folds inside to the palm of your thumb, while your thumb, on the other hand, will be connected and sort of laying next to your fingers to make the fist. So once you have that anyways, we're going to go to face right here. Now, if you look at your hand, the way it's set up, you have to sort of bring it out because there's like a certain little joint, metacarpal. Sorry, correction. There is a metacarpal, there is a metacarpal behind the joint that gives it sort of like a squarish, angular shape from your thumb. So I'm going to press Control E to extrude, flip the switch, pull this out right here, like that. Now I'm going to start establishing that. So it's going to make this little rounded part right here. Now I'm going to press G again to extrude. I'm going to bring this up here, rotate it even a little bit more. This time around, I'm going to scale inwards just a little bit. And the way it's angled of your thumb, your nail is not facing forward, but in a 3/4 angle. So we have to sort of, what's that word? You're trying to recreate that same figure. So once we have that, pull here, extrude this part, rotate here. Now this is where we add this part, which is your knuckle. It's going to be a little bit more thinned out. So we'll fix that later on, so we're not going to worry too much. So we're going to scale it inwards in all 3 axes. So once we have that, press G to make the tip of the finger. I'm going to scale inwards like such. Rotate. Last but not least, scale inward to make the very tip, outmost tip of your thumb right here. And there. Now, it's not that great, but when I start sculpting it, it's going to look like an actual thumb. So, let's see. I'm going to fix the vertices here. Sort of drop this down a little bit more, like that. I'm going to start sculpting by using surfaces and the Sculpt Geometry tool. Now, again, I'm going to use the relaxer, relax this area. One of the challenges on this one, on the other hand, is trying to avoid to make your hand look like a cactus, or as I call this, the cactus finger or cactus thumb. Because the way how it arches its thumb, you want it to make it look relaxed. You want it to sort of give that sort of feel that it's actually a thumb. So you may have to use the smooth tool to smooth out certain areas of your object here. So once we have that, we go back to vertices here. Might have to rotate this just a tad bit right here. So we'll bring it in so it looks like an actual thumb. Also, we're going to decrease the amount right here. There we go. Slightly rotate to here. Now, if you ever look at your thumb, of course, that fatty part of the palm of your thumb, the bottom of it, you'll notice that your thumb is sort of rotated. So we're going to get this part and sort of rotate forward. So we're going to rotate it forward here and downward. Just a tiny bit. So now that we have that, so if you ever put your thumb together, it should meet at over the first knuckle. So if your thumb size is not as it should be proportionate, then you could just easily scale it by using the vertices and selecting the vertices and pulling it outward. Just like that. So once you have that, you may resculpt it to make it more. So I'm going to increase this size here. Now, I could use the pull tool to sort of make that palm, that sort of fatty part right here on the palm of your bottom hand. Same here to give it a little bit of depth. So you could sort of get that here and here. If you want to push this in the dead center, you can. And if you want to, make another subdivision on the palm of your hand. So insert edge loop tool here and here. So once you have that, go to object mode, surfaces, sculpt geometry. Here, you can resize it. Oops. There you go. Ever so slightly, so make it into the opacity is at its lowest setting. Use the pull tool to sort of bring out a little puffiness on the ends of here. If you want. Relax it to make it more like this. So once you have that, if you want, you could paint the selection on the faces here, just to sort of establish the difference from between the wrist to the hand. So Control E to extrude. And just like that. So you have that, W, object mode. Insert another edge loop right here. Like that. Go back here, surfaces, sculpt geometry, sculpt it out, relax it. And voila, you got yourself a hand. A nice low poly hand. So if you want to fix it up, adjust a few things, you can. But pretty much that concludes all three parts of today's little screencast tutorial. Thank you.